Hello, hello, and welcome to Everyday Ordinary Extraordinary Men. I am Martina, and I'm here with Christina, and we are your podcast hosts. And we are deep divers and avid students of life and powerful facilitators for healing. In real life, I'm a life coach specializing in parent and women empowerment, and I'm also a sound healer.
And I'm Christina. I'm an intuitive healer who loves to blend massage therapy with energy work to provide customized holistic services for my clients. Martina and I both love to incorporate crystals, essential oils, angelic Reiki, intuitive guidance, and working with oracle decks into all the work we do.
And let me tell you quickly about the context. Most humans have a lot of preconceived notions and stereotypes about gender. For example, men are tough, silent, forceful. Women are chatty, manipulative, and emotional. And in doing that, we put people in a box and often forget to see beyond those labels. And if someone is not fitting the mold, we might call them a tomboy or a sissy. Those and similar labels often cause discord. Now, what would the world look like where we go beyond our preconceived notions and understand that we are so much more than our gender? That we humans are strong and soft and gentle, deep and powerful, tough, fierce, and open. That qualities are not specific to a gender, that we all have all qualities available to express. What will the world look like where we all are free to be who we choose to be and express all of our emotions? When we allow ourselves to express the so-called masculine and feminine qualities within ourselves, we set ourselves free. When we allow others to do the same, when we accept all of them, we create synergy, peace, and harmony. And today we're here with Andrew. Andrew, just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, well, my name's Andrew. I'm 27 years old. My profession, I'm in the service industry. And in my personal time, I do a lot of work, both in breath work and spiritual work and all sorts of healing, personal healing practices, and religious practices as well. So I've been working in restaurants for over 10 years. And I'd love to see that aspect of myself grow. And I also want to, starting a time in my life when I want to work into more healing modalities as a profession as well. And so I've been exploring those avenues also.
Do you want to mention that you're also moving into personal chef too?
Oh, that's also true. Yeah, I do personal chef work as well with restaurant work. I've been doing that. I started it in college, and it's kind of been a creative outlet, as well as an opportunity to follow passion of food and cooking and sharing that community and communion with people and in the community and even friends and family and such like that. So.
Beautiful, like the communion is beautiful because it is the food that brings us together, right? It's like lots of celebrations happen around food, right? So
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, for a long time, that's been the aspect of community for me is through food. Through my childhood, especially, it was very impactful, and it's been an aspect of my life that's followed me now. And I went to college for hospitality management at Missouri State. I graduated there in about 4 years ago, and the kind of that as well, that sense of service and wanting to provide service kind of blends a lot with the holistic community in ways and that sense of communion and healing. And especially as I've gone through my own healing journeys and things, that's helped shape aspects of those as well, especially my relationship to food, quite a bit. So those are all very powerful modes, just as any. And so that's been a lot of fun to explore that. And I hope to bring that eventually into that holistic space as well in my own life, kind of blending a lot of different aspects of that lifestyle.
I love it. I'm just excited to see how you can move forward, blending like food hospitality with breathwork and spirituality. I think there's like something amazing is coming. I feel it.
Yeah,
But Andrew, who
totally.
you are for me is just a deep diver and an old soul. Like the first time I met you, I actually I fell in love with you before I even met you. Just from dropping cookies at work to Carly to the little amazing things you do to just let her know how special she is.
Mhm.
I fell in love with you before I even met you because of how generous of spirit you are. But then when I met you in person, I was just so excited because I love Carly, your girlfriend, dearly. And to
Mhm.
know you and love the two of you as a couple is just, yeah. I can't wait to spend more time with the two of you because you guys are great.
Yes, of course. Of
So let's
course.
move into some questions.
Yeah.
Really knew you, Andrew. What would we know about you?
I would say if you really knew me, you would know that I do many things and I'm all over the place. And that I'm always very futuristic in my mindset and thinking, what's next? What's, planning different things. And it's gone through so many different avenues and ups and downs. But I would say if you knew me, you'd know that I'm kind of a jack of all trades. Um, but I do so many different things. That's people always say, "Wow, you just do so much." I'm like, I don't know. I just have fun.
I think that speaks to your creative side, but also that passion for life that you have too, that you want to experience so many new things.
Sure. Yeah, when I was young, I had ADHD a lot, and so it was always like all over the place. But I've kind of find comfortability in that, especially in like the restaurant scene is quite chaotic, and so it's interesting being able to find peace in chaos and peace and whatever it is, like even if it's like meditating in a busy cafe, it's like you can find it anywhere, but I find it fun to work in a kind of like, I don't know, it's a rush. So,
Agreed. Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing to learn that peace and chaos.
mhm.
So to
Yeah,
learn
I've
that,
always been very adaptable in that way because I've always been all over the place, that it's easy for me to be pulled in a lot of directions, I find. And so it kind of helps multitasking ways. But sometimes that means it's hard to center. And so it's always good to partake in that.
which
I
is a,
mean, it's
yeah.
one of the most challenging things to find that peace in the chaos, right? You know, as I shared, right, we literally just moved, but my environment is chaotic, right? And how can I find my way back and still be centered and grounded, right? In the midst of everything, because there's, enough distractions everywhere, right? That's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's really,
Yeah. And that's what's great about having a toolkit as well. And for me, what I love about having a diverse toolkit is that I can always tailor something to whatever I need. I feel very comfortable in that. But it also, you know, it's great. It's great being able to dive deep, especially for you doing a lot of shadow work and stuff. Like that's just so powerful, being able to bring that forward and being in the present moment, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well, essentially, shadow work is all about, in the end, being present. And I believe that most of the work, it doesn't matter who you're talking to, right? That Eckhart Tolle, Marianne Williamson, Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, it's all about coming present, right? And
Yeah,
if you do shadow work, it's like if you can let go of all the chatter and all that stuff, you can actually come present, right? It
of
doesn't
course.
matter how we get there, right? It's each one has, or Byron Katie, right? Like the work of Byron Katie and like questioning your thoughts, all of that. So, one of the things that I heard as you were talking is teacher. And I'm so curious what you're going to create once you find your way,
Yeah.
bringing all the pieces that you're collecting right now, because you're in the process of collecting. Once you kind of digested that and bring them out, I'm so curious what you're gonna what you're going to create, because yeah, that's the word I heard, like teacher. So I'm quite excited to see where life will take you.
Yeah,
So,
I've gotten that a lot with Old Soul, kind
yeah,
of, that it's like there's some sort of like, yeah, totally.
yes. And we're all collecting, right? We're all collecting, and then we need to digest so we can bring out whatever.
Yeah, we're all teachers.
In our own way, in our own creativity. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So Andrew, tell us a funny, silly, or embarrassing story.
Oh man. So I was talking to Carly just before this, and I was like, man, I was trying to think. She's like, so what's your funny story? And I was like, I don't know. There's so many, but I feel like we just kind of, you forget about them. But I was thinking, a lot of my embarrassing stories happen in the restaurant because I've spent a lot of time there. And, it's always funny. I like to say that an embarrassing moment, no matter what it is, in the service industry, it's great because you're always allowed to make right whatever's gone wrong. And so sometimes in mistakes, it allows me the opportunity to be a human. Sometimes in the service industry, we become so mechanical and material, we kind of forget about just like, oh, it's just about being a good person, being a human being, and showing people respect. But I think I've found that lesson a lot, and embarrassing moments of spilling things on guests, spilling bowls of soup on guests, spilling water on people, or just moments where you're not prepared, or many times has that happened, or just dropping. The first day I was working in the restaurant that I started in, for the first time, I was a busser, and I dropped a whole giant stack of plates, and the server just looked at me, and I don't think he ever handed me another stack of plates. But it's just, I think the thing is, like, in those moments you just kind of learn. You're like, all right, you brush yourself off, and kind of, that's kind of the thing of the service industry, is like, it's kind of like, in a sense, you're kind of thrown to the wolves, but then you also have a sense of, there's going to be an end to it. And, at the end of the day, you're just going to go home and there'll be another day. So kind of just learning from your little mistakes here and there, but so many times spilled stuff on people, or drop plates of food right in front of people. Like, I'm so sorry about that.
So I imagine the reactions are pretty varied, right? I imagine some people get really, really pissy, and others say it's okay.
Yeah.
What's the I'm gonna say funniest reaction you got?
Oh man, the funniest reactions. I think the funniest reactions are when people are just like, they're so accepting, because they're also just, they can kind of, I don't know, they can kind of understand. They're like, oh my God, like, we've been a server or what have you, or like, I don't know, they can kind of relate to that chaos, and just like the sheer, just like, you're on a busy night or something and you drop something on a guest, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I spilt soup all over a guy's suit once, and a busy lunch, and he definitely had to go back to work after that. And you're just like, oh man, like, you're just thinking, you just feel so bad, and they understand, they see it. They're just like, if you just show them that you care, and that's what you really see, is like, even though it's a mistake, you're like, hey, listen, like, we'll take care of your dry cleaning. But I think I once spilled something on someone's baby, and that was an embarrassing moment, because they're like, you just spilled something on my child. And I was like, I don't know what to say. Like, you just kind of take it and then move on. But people do get mad. You get a lot of varied. I would say the restaurant industry is so great because you get such a chameleon space. So at any given time, you're dealing with so many different energies and people, that you really get to learn how to deal and respond to the variety of people. So really, a lot of my work, uh, I would say, psychologically serving, is really mirroring people, and understanding what they relate to, And so I try to give that back to them. I try to find ways to relate to people in that way. And that was an old trick I learned a long time ago, but you can really go down the rabbit hole with different types of things. But at the end of the day, people are coming in for an experience, and they're coming in to get away or to have for some people it's entertainment. For some people it's more just casual. It's not a big deal for them. They're just out to eat. But what they're doing with the person they're there is important, whether they're having a conversation or meeting a longtime friend. I get to meet so many different people and so many different, hear so many different stories and learn so many different things because of that. So it's really a fun industry in that way. And with anything, but I would say in a given night, you come into contact with so many different people, sometimes good, sometimes,
It's a great, I guess,
sometimes it's a test.
I guess it's a great practice.
Yeah, it is good
To be
practice.
around people.
Yeah, right.
But the other thing I hear inside of what you're saying is that it's more like it's an honor, and it's almost like a vocation rather than just a job. That's what I hear, right? It's not just doing, like, you're not just doing your job. And I imagine there's good days and bad days as well, but that's, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. And then when I do private chef work, it's very in-home, very personal. So that's even more so. That's very, you get to really know people. They're inviting you into their home, so that's really great too.
But it really speaks to what you're saying at the beginning, that it's all about the service. So whether, it doesn't matter whether you're doing personal chef or serving, it's all about the
same.
service. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love what you said about the opportunity to make things right. Like, that is just so beautiful. If most people could see their mistakes or missed opportunities as just opportunities to make things right, like instead of beating themselves up or wherever other rabbit hole we go down, then just
that definitely was something that I heard too, right? It's like, if you just bring kindness rather than, I didn't do it, or like become defensive, just say, oops, I am so sorry. It just takes all the wind out of the sails of everybody. So
yeah, it is. And honestly, as I've done that for a long time, I've made a lot of mistakes. And so I think the most important thing is just being true and honest. I think that's the most important thing. Just be like, hey man, I messed up. Like, let me make this right. But I find it sometimes it's tough. Some people don't want you to help. And so they don't, like, I'd be like, hey, listen, like, let me help. But some people are reluctant to that. And they're like, no, like, the damage is done. It's like, okay, well, I learned one time that how valuable the serenity prayer is, where you just gotta, forgive, and you have to be present and know that, you did what you could, you did the best you could, and tomorrow's a new day. So there's been those moments, but
yeah, because if you get stuck in your head, the rest of the night goes downhill fast.
Well, you got that's the hard part, is you gotta be, you gotta interact with somebody over here, and then you gotta turn around and just be completely normal with your other tables, and really, there's a bit of, I wouldn't say acting, but a bit of like, you gotta be able to present yourself in a multitude of ways through a multitude of emotions.
Yeah, you get to practice getting off it fast, right?
Yeah, it's true. But
all right, what makes you come alive? What are you passionate about? What you love about your life?
Lately, I have loved being present. And that has been a journey that I've been on for a long time, kind of how I got into spirituality practices and modalities. But I think the thing that makes me come alive now, as well, is moments of synchronicity. There's nothing more exciting for me than knowing that I'm in the right place at the right time all the time, and just being open to the things that come. And then, you feel the synchronicity come, and then you have it, and you're like, wow, this is great. I get to just enjoy this moment of connection, and this moment of this spark of like, wow, that totally sent me on this path down this way. And you can kind of almost like tether them back as like a little breadcrumb trail of your life, of these little synchronicities that led you to be at the right place at the right time. And that's been a lot of fun to see that happen throughout my life over the past, handful of years now, and where that's brought me. But I would say now just being present in that, and present and just being at peace in the moment. I'm such a futuristic thinker, but then my downfall in that way is I kind of overthink. So it's like I try to stay in a moment of um, just enjoying, seeing what the day holds. I like to wake up and most days I have some free time, so it's nice to be able to. Today I'm doing something different, or different types of things that lead you to different places, and finding cool little synchronicities and fun things. So yeah, I would say that is great, but also finding love has been great um, as well. Finding love within myself. I would say that's what kind of sent me on my spiritual journey, was reconnecting with my own love for myself. And because I felt the need, it's kind of a projection, you can only love other people and serve other people as much as you serve and love yourself. And so I was like, oh man, I really need to learn to love myself again. And so that kind of sent me on my spiritual journey. But now it's about being present and about, I've done a lot of some of those works, but being present now is just feeling different things come up and being okay with and loving myself and all the moments that I find and all the emotions that come up. So, but
That is so incredibly powerful. I mean, there's really nothing else to say, right? If you get to it, because one of like the question I was gonna ask you was, or I was gonna ask you to tell us about the time when you took a chance for love, and not necessarily romantic, and that's it in a nutshell, right? It's you finding your way back to you. Now,
yeah,
did anything happen for you to move away from you?
I just think own our own. We all have traumas. We all have things. We all have. I mean, from birth, we have traumas that we carry through our lives, and I think learning to see how I got to where I was, um, physically, mentally, and spiritually, and uncovering that journey of kind of metaphysical journey, but also a very physical journey in the sense of healing and different things. And um, I think my own your own suffering in ways. I feel I heard a quote that was, sometimes we're so addicted to our own suffering in ways, but letting go is sometimes the hardest part. And being able to use different modalities that I've done in my own practices and things, have really allowed that presence to come forth. But um, I would say just awareness. It feels more expansive than it does like contracting. I feel like I got to a point of contraction that led to an expansion, and now I'm just on this like journey of expansion and a lot of different multitudes. And so that's been exciting because I feel uh, a lot of propensity, a lot of power, a lot of movement of change, and being comfortable with transformation and these different things. And I feel like that's really where I want to be. Like that's kind of right on the sweet spot. Like you're on the train, but you haven't quite reached the destination, but you're having fun on the train. Um, and so that's kind of where I feel I'm at right now. But so many
Let's say
different things. Every day holds something.
who knows what tomorrow is going to bring, right? We might be derailed and then have to find our way back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think learning to love myself was real, and the way that I chose to go about learning to love myself, just through education and knowledge and learning about myself, and learning those aspects that maybe I wanted to improve on, or maybe things that I needed to let go, or beliefs that were no longer serving me. But I think inevitably that is what attracted me to my current partner. And that has allowed me to see aspects of loving other people intimately again. And that's a wonderful thing. And now I see that love everywhere. So in everything now, I'm starting to see love more and more, and those things more and more. And I think, as we bring those things into our life, more love and more unity, um, that's kind of the the benefit of it, is you start to see those things more and more, and you start to, you know, you're on a walk and all of a sudden you see a little bunny and you're like, oh wow, how abundant, there's abundance everywhere. And so just kind of basking in that feeling of, you're on the receiving of a hand, and that's really great. Or drinking from the cup, very great.
Beautiful stuff. We're going to keep expanding on this with what made you who you are today. So like, what was your biggest lesson you've learned, or biggest challenge? Or
I would say my biggest challenge is self. Always has been. I've always been in a supportive environment, even though I've had my own struggles. ADHD when I was young was very difficult. It was just hard to stay centered and focused in an environment where, school is kind of unforgiving in that way. But I feel like putting me on just kind of a track of, I think who I am today was so much seeking to just be my child self. And so I've always had that sense of just wanting to exist or be, but also I just had so much energy. And so learning that energy, I can see has been kind of my journey from the beginning. But in the moment, you don't think like that, but I would say a lot of things that I've struggled with mentality wise have been in those things, limiting self beliefs, which I think everyone has those things, but sometimes it's very loud. And so finding ways to quiet that a little bit allows you that awareness to be like, oh, wait, wow, there's so much other stuff, so many other things, and so much other opportunities for you to bring in things that are more positive and more loving. I would say that one of the strongest things that I've had to deal with in my life is grief. My mother passed away when I was 13, and that was difficult, but it was very positive in many ways, and more so ways it was positive. And I think that's just, again, being provided opportunity and taking ways of positivity. And that's allowed me to heal aspects of myself and allowed me to heal aspects of grief. I think grief is something everyone struggles with at one point or another, and also a personal grief as well, learning to let go of aspects of yourself that no longer serve you. So grieving is a multitude, it's multifaceted. It's not just, for people that we love or people that we don't know or things around us. You get to grieve in the sense of the seasons changing, letting go of consistency and those things. So, but I found that was a very powerful thing for me, because that has helped me a lot on my spiritual journey, reconnecting to source, reconnecting to my mother spiritually. Immediately, those were the moments where I felt like my spirituality was kind of calling back to me, being like, hey, listen, like, I'm still here. Like, don't forget that there is a sense of source and a sense of peace. And a lot of that is, I feel like our challenges are only as much to keep us in a sense of wanting to come back to that peace, to find that peace. and that sometimes we do need to be grateful for those different types of traumas that I felt. I felt like I've been able to bask in some of those, like my feelings of grief and things. It's been about half my life now. So feeling now those feelings of more being an adult and being able to step away from those and feel those emotions present. And I feel like healing modalities, career wise, but not even just personal use, for anyone that uses them are so powerful in that. I would say breath work for me, very powerful in centering and in that way. So it's allowed me to heal a lot of those deeper aspects.
Wow.
But many
Yeah.
achievements as well that have brought me to where I am, and I'm very proud of my journey. It's taken me to a lot of places and to meet a lot of people and make a lot of great relationships, and it just keeps going.
How powerful to take ADHD, struggle, I'm going to say for lack of a better term, when you were younger, right? And like judging yourself like I don't fit in and I'm the whatever the people said around you, right? Because people label you when you're the kid bouncing off the walls. But then figure out that like, oh, I can learn things to help me, I don't know what you say, manage or energy or
I would say like divert almost. It feels like when I feel those surges of energy, it feels like I'm being hit with a lightning bolt of energy, and then it just like pulses through the body. So like when I was young, I felt that a lot, but I didn't understand it. But now that I understand, like, oh wow, like I'm just meant to be an energy worker. Like I'm just meant to like work with energy, and just like, everyone else is, it's just finding what you're attuned to. But I think it's funny. A lot of people would say, oh yeah, like ADHD's like quick to say like that's a condition or whatever have you. But in the reality, you just have too much energy, you have so much energy and you can't deal with that, so you got to find ways to
express
let
it.
that go. Yeah,
Yeah.
literally.
But how
And let it
beautiful to
flow,
go
let it
from
flow, let it out.
surrender and then figure out how to actually use it for you and how to control it and to be able then to dance in the chaos with it, right? Like you learned how to be with it instead of fight against it, which is really beautiful. At a young
The
age,
work
most
helped me
people
with
dance that much longer than most people argue the whole life of it.
that.
So to find peace at such a young age is really beautiful.
Yeah, I remember there are a lot of moments when I would say of intense feelings of lack, or intense feelings of like, these negative, more shadow beliefs that are deep, but come to the surface as you start to peel back the layers. And I would find moments where I was like, very depressed or what have you. And then just feeling that energy come in, and just be like, no, like I can choose to be happy. Like this is a choice. Like this is a perspective I can choose to have. And so, I would feel that very viscerally. Just feeling immense joy and peace and love. Um, but then learning to find different ways, even like physically, like holding trauma in different places has been expansive for being just like you're feeling an emotion and you can find that source of being like, oh, that's where I'm holding that. Like I love that. I love finding those and those moments are like, that's just great. Um, yeah. The release, anytime I have a great release, it's like, that's what it's all about.
Which feels much lighter. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
you're like,
I'm
oh
holding
wow.
on to that.
Yeah, you're like, that's
Like I'm listening to you, and it's like, yes, the breath work brings you back to your body, feeling your emotions, being in your body. It's all about your body. And it felt like when you were sharing like about loving yourself again, it was coming back home.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
that's
100%.
what it felt like when you were talking about that. It's just like coming back to yourself,
Well,
remembering who you are.
I think it's great because, I've, think spiritually, being being present spiritually is much different than mentally and physically as well, but it's great to have a vessel to bring that light down and to bring that goodness down is really wonderful. I think treating your body as that physically in that way of, oh wow, like I just need to give my body the things it needs, and then I can feel that release and that connection to self. But also, it's kind of like, I feel like in all those multitudes, we are creating every moment. And so our bodies just existing, we're creating. And so it's great to like feel the rhythms of life and the patterns and the different aspects. But then blending the different aspects of that too, of practice and modalities. And yeah. But the breath is powerful. I found breath work about a couple years ago. I would say 2 years ago, I really got into it. I read a book that was talking about Leonard Orr, and I got into rebirthing breath work right off the bat. And I was like, oh, wow, like I really enjoy this. This is really cool. And I finally found the ability time to do a rebirthing session with a rebirther. And that just was like immediately, I was like, this is awesome. But it doesn't always have to be that intense. I feel like that's kind of like the retreat version of breath work is rebirthing. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And I wouldn't say easier, but the more natural it feels. But now I do a lot of breath work just simply, and it's just become part of my everyday practices, and also blending with different thoughts and practices and even religious thinkings and practices of unity and oneness. I really enjoy as well. So it's kind of the source, that's I kind of come back to after my trip to the Middle East. Christina talked about me just being I was just in Egypt, and kind of coming back from that area, I had a resurgence of kind of tradition of my family. I was raised Jewish, but I didn't really practice that much. I was bar mitzvah, but it was a fun experience to kind of be present with that. But then I never thought of it like spiritual work. But then applying the things that I've learned in a unity consciousness setting with breath work and different things, mantra, mudra, whatever, all these different aspects of connecting to your body, connecting to source. It's so fun. So fun. And so I love educating myself on all that stuff. That's been a wonderful journey, and making that become a reality for my life, and also my passion for helping people and being of service to people. It's like it's almost a no-brainer. I was like, oh wow, like that's right on track with what I want to do, And so that's where I'm at.
Beautiful. Extremely powerful, because it's just really using what you're learning, right? It's not just learning, it's really applying what you're learning to.
Yeah, I think especially out of the integration process of breath work, when you come out of a rebirthing, you've connected to that, but the work that you do in your medium, the stuff you do, the little things you do on a daily basis, I find are really what make the difference. It's the little things. It's like the first thing you do when you wake up. What are you thinking about? Where's your energy going? Because that's where your energy's flowing. So it's like you gotta being mindful of that, being mindful of those types of things. I find great joy in that, but also in the troubles and the challenges. It's great to get that direct feedback. Life is direct feedback in that way. You get out.
If everything is always happening for you, then the challenges are not really challenges, right? They're just
Exciting opportunities.
opportunities for you to learn whatever you need to learn, or to be wherever you need to be. So Andrew, if you had a magic wand and you could give people any quality, what would it be and why?
quality I would give is forgiveness, because I think the power of forgiveness will heal the world in that way. Because when we learn to forgive ourselves, we learn to forgive the people around us. We learn to heal ourselves, to understand and help heal others. Because there's that saying, like, healing modalities, like, you're never really healing the person, right? We're providing the environment and the space for the person to heal themselves. And so that kind of goes through with your daily. It's like wearing your heart on your hand, like, if I can lead with that forgiveness and that power, to love people, even when they are disrespectful to me, even when they are, whatever it is, if I learn to live open, with my heart open, then any situation you're presented with becomes that opportunity to share that light with people and to help people. And that's where I feel like the daily work comes in for me. It's like, it may not always be this big dramatic, it's great when I can do, retreat type things, or, these sessions and different things, but, just working with what you have in the moment, and working with your state of presence, your state of being. It's been really fun. It's been really fun in that way. It's allowed me to see aspects of things in myself, but also things in other people, and learning how to be a better me, really. I mean, being presented with those reflections of yourself, you have that opportunity to heal those aspects of yourself again through other people. So it's everywhere. Learning is everywhere.
Amen. Amen to that.
Yes.
Andrew, what's your superpower?
Oh, my superpower. So sometimes when I do breath work, I see lightning behind my eyes. It's the craziest thing. It's only when it's like kind of like cloudy out or stormy out, kind of. But there's it just always happens. Like, I'll be doing breath work and I'll just like see the lightning come, and then I'll open my eyes and the lightning will be there, and then the sound. I'm like, wow. No, I wouldn't say. I would say my healing power is my breath. That's what I think is the most important to me currently, because I can go without many things. I do a lot of intermittent fasting, different types of, I've done different types of detoxes and different things, but I would say that going without breath is so difficult. Doesn't take very long. So I feel like learning how to take in energy and learning how to build that energy with the breath, I would say that feels like a superpower. I mean, I did the first time I did my first rebirthing, I was like, wow, I can't even believe, like, this is so powerful. But also I've been getting into more like Kundalini energy type stuff. And that's been exciting as well, because that's very physical. It's very physical, visceral. You feel it somatically. And breath work as well. You get a lot of tetany and different things you're not used to feeling. But
I love Kundalini energy or yoga for that reason. Like, you're just so specific about, where you're directing the energy, and, whether you're focusing on specific fingers or, yeah. I haven't done Kundalini in a while, but I love Kundalini yoga.
yeah, I think it's really, I mean, you hear a lot about, the serpent rising energy, bringing energy through your body. It's very powerful. It's very powerful. It's very healing as well. It allows you to kind of release and let go. I remember, like, the first rebirthing I ever did, when I was born very premature, but I struggled a lot with like reflux and different things. Bad. And so, like, I feel like when you rebirth, you revisit those deep aspects of right when you were born. What were you experiencing? And so a lot of those things I was like feeling again viscerally, but I had this moment where I felt the weight of my body like sinking, like sand on my back. as I was laying down, and like when I got up, I just felt it was like weightless. It was one of the weirdest feelings, and you just have that sense of letting go. And also traveling, when I haven't really delved into this a lot, but I did done a lot of astral projection and stuff like that when I was younger a lot. Now I do a little bit, but I would like to work more like that with shadow work. I mean, it's very powerful. The dream world's very powerful. And those types of shadow work as well. I would love to. I journal a lot, but it's more writing now, but it's still very therapeutic. I would love to get into more shadow work.
More possibilities.
It's everywhere.
You know,
There's not enough hours in a day.
there's always more to learn and always more to heal, right? It's like we're never done, right? It's
It rungs on the ladder.
It's all, but it's we don't want to miss being present for the search of more healing, right? So it is an exploration.
Balancing act.
Yeah, it's a balancing act, and appreciating the now, and still, what is it? I think it's a Tibetan saying that is like, you're perfect as you are, and there's always room for improvement, right? But it's both, right? There's nothing wrong, and yes, there's always room for improvement. There's always space for more, and there's always space for more. So, last question: what is the legacy you want to leave? What do you want people to remember about you?
Well, people will remember me for a lot of different things. I feel like it's because I've been all over the place. People would call me a chef. People would call me a musician. People would call me, yogi type, whatever. I feel like legacy for me is going to be a very multifaceted weave, like a tapestry. I feel like elements of, different industries and different things. I feel like my real legacy, I would love to bring just more light into the world, just more love and learning to be part of the healing journey of our unity. And that at the end of the day, I feel like wherever that takes me, I feel like it's crazy. You can really do anything in the world, and you can find opportunities to be, that kind of person, whatever it is. You never know who you're going to meet and who you're going to come in contact with. And I think just learning to treat others as your neighbor, as yourself, bridging that gap. That's where I would want to see my legacy. Of course, I'd want physical legacy. It would be great to have kids and things like that. But, I not placing an expectation on those things, I think, is also important, because you never know where you're going to inspire people or where you're going to be inspiration for people. So many times we're just doubting ourselves. In the meantime, so many people are looking up to you. So it's like, I feel like just looking up to the best person you can be, finding that a way to just do that, to be that, to live just that journey. That's what it's all about for me. Also having a good time, having fun. I think something I've enjoyed so much in being present. It was funny. I was at a friend's house the other night, and we all sat down to eat for his birthday, and everyone just started eating. And me and my girlfriend have become accustomed to not necessarily like religiously praying, but blessing our food and being present with our meals. Not watching TV, different things when we can. But we've enjoyed those moments of finding moments of being present, and I would say it's everyone's duty to find those moments where they can just exist and be present and happy and finding that peace now. Not so much of my life, I felt like I've just been chasing the future, like, oh, I'll be happy when, or I'll be happy if I get this, or when I get this, I'll feel the satisfaction. Really, the real peace is just feeling the satisfaction now, and then opening yourself up for what's to come. And so being present in that way has been so wonderful. And being able to love a partner, and we're both very diverse in what that means, but we have been able to teach each other a lot about love and about unity and about, balance and peace. And I was just saying to her today, I was like, I'm just so comfortable. Like, I feel like I'm not tethered to what's coming or what's behind, just kind of being here. It's great. It's nice to it was a beautiful day out today. So it's just nice to feel the breeze. You wake up to the small things, enjoying the small things. It's like amazing. Finding peace in a cup of coffee. It's like you could find secrets of the universe in anything. So, but
Very wise words spoken, my friend.
I don't know. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Releasing those aspects, shedding yourself, and
Just learning to be authentic and vulnerable and not have to put up walls and barriers. It's refreshing and
it helps me connect to source. I would say it helps me connect to source and helps me connect to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, living through the heart. That's it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Andrew, thank you so much for being with us today. It was really a delight having this conversation with you today.
As well.
Yeah. Everyone listening, if you've loved this, please leave us a review. Please share with your friends. If you want to find out more about me and Martina, our Linktree profiles will be in the notes as well. Oh, Andrew, I didn't ask you, do you your personal chef business? Is there a way people can get in touch with you if they want to know more about what you're offering? And
of course, yes, you can reach me at andrewprivatechef@gmail.com. I'm working on a website, but I also, if you decide, I also am on Instagram as well. I have my cooking account is Ernie's_kitchen. And yeah, it's a great time. I have a lovely time being creative with food, and I love to share that with people.
so if you're in the St. Louis, Missouri area, that is where Andrew is based. And so if you're interested in reaching out for his services for personal chef, definitely do it. He is super talented and you will enjoy it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And please remember, you are extraordinary and you rock. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Martina.
Bye for now. Andrew, you want to close us off here?
Peace and love. Thank you. It's so wonderful to be on this show.